Good evening, everyone. This is Rodney with the Triton Wave Market Outlook for Friday, December 14th, 2012. All right, let's start off by looking at the S&P 500, and I wanted to show you something. This gap down on the daily from Wednesday to Thursday was due to a move forward of the S&Ps into the March contract. So on the 987 tick chart, it threw the waves off. It's kind of like throwing a brick in the water at a whale, and he jumps, or it jumps. So I decided instead to all day long until the waves straighten themselves out. I decided to look at SPY. And I could get a 987 on the SPY because the volume on the SPY is 135 million, so that's enough to give me all the action I need. So you can see it's a nice continuous flow here that does not show the gap because it's a cash price. So with that, you can still see that T1, T2, T3 is down below zero. T4 is just hanging above a little bit, and T5 is also the short wave is above zero. On day trades, let's put in where the day started here. Back in. Oops. Okay, so this was the beginning of the day on the 987 tick chart of the SPYs, and you can see it took off on the short wave on T1 just before the close yesterday, and it ran up right to the 377 exponential moving average, and then came down. It's not clearly all down here until T2 comes back up right about at 130, and then they tried to rally into the close up to the 377, and then it kind of failed in the aftermarket a little bit till 315. It gave it back all. I think it was down like I think the S&Ps were down like 350, and they ended up down 950 or 1,000. So just to take a look at, see what the 21 looks like here. The 21 on the SPYs gave a sell signal, a short-term sell signal at right at the opening or at the close yesterday. Yeah, T1 went below zero on the close yesterday. It followed through today on T2, T3, and all of T4 is below zero. So if this continues to the downside and takes T5 down, then what you want to do is follow T5 all the way, and you can take short, once T1 comes up above zero, then you can get out. So let's see what this looks like on the ABC waves, on the SPYs. It's a little bit choppier, but it's basically the same thing. It came down just before the close here, and oh, I'm sorry, wait a second. This is the 21. Okay, they're both 21. Well, let's look at the SPYs on the 987 on the ABC waves. Okay, much better. Okay, so the beginning of the day, again, let's mark that off, was okay, right about here. Oops. Okay, right there. All right, so in this case, you would use the B wave. It's more consistent, and then when this all clears below zero, you can go long or just cover your short. Either way you're playing it. So right now, let's go back and take a look at the ES daily, because my line in the sand was 1421, and as it happens, it was 1437. It was 1427, and then it rolled over into the March contracts after the close of trade yesterday, and strangely enough, it opened up at 1421, even though that's how it worked out, even though nothing. So even this right shoulder is a little extended, and it looks like it may want to go up a little bit further, but I'm not really sure. As long as T1 stays below 0, then you can play the shorter term, like the 987 or the 21 period to the short side. And you can see that on the 21, on the ES, this is about to go below 0 on number 5. T5. All right. Okay, I saw something on the ES that I hadn't seen before that I wanted to bring up. This is creating, on the daily, this is creating a right shoulder. A bigger right shoulder than I actually thought was going to happen. This round shoulder over here before the Bendragi push into the market. Okay, oh, that's what I wanted to bring up. I just remembered. All right, let's bring this out here because this is kind of interesting. Okay, on this date right here, on September 6th, Ben Bernanke came out, the chairman of the Fed came out and said he's going to infuse $42 billion a month into the economy. That provided the catalyst for this run from September 9th all the way until it dropped below that announcement, which it dropped below that announcement on 11/7. So for 2 months, it held the market up. Okay, then it came down here, then it came back up to that neckline, and it's been hovering around there, going sideways a little bit up. Okay, so here's the announcement by the Fed yesterday saying that it was going to infuse another $48 billion into the economy, the equivalent of $1 trillion a year. Okay, so if you think that the same thing is going to happen from the last time he said it, and then the ECB chair, Mario Draghi, in actuality, we could have another top like this for 2 months. But the response was instead of shooting up, it actually started up and then it came down. It was down yesterday and it was down today. So we're not getting the same response that we were in terms of trading that we were in the first push-up. So I think people are really just tired of hearing this. And so far it's held this high. So we'll have to see. I still like this to the downside on the 21 minute. If the 21 minute comes through, and you can do this on the ABC chart as well. If the 21 minute comes through, it bounced November 28th and December 5th, and it's bouncing off the 377 on the 13th today. So if this goes through, there is a very distinct possibility we could come all the way down to 1340 very, very quickly, and before we have any serious bounce. And that would actually take it to the 377 of the daily, right there. Right, and this little mark here is 1339 by the time it comes up. 1339, 1340, right in that area. All right, now let's look at Apple. Okay, Apple. It's done reversals 2 days in a row. It started up high, came down low, up to the 21, up to the 8-period moving average. Did a complete reversal. It started up a little bit today, came down again. It's also hovering at its 377, and also T1 is now below 0, and T3, T4, and T5 are below 0. So right here, here's the sell at 9:33 a.m. Central Time on 12/13, and let's bring this out a little bit. And you're in at 533 down to 526. Let's look at it. you can actually trade this a little bit better on the 987. All right, on the 987 tick chart, no, it doesn't work as well. I think, okay, here we go. This is the 1597 tick chart. And here's where it began the day. So actually, this gave a sell signal way back here on the 11th, which was 2 days ago at 5:43 on T2, confirmed it with T3, confirmed it with T4, and then confirmed it with T5. So if you weren't playing all these zigzag moves that you could play if you're playing the 144 tick or something like that, if you want to watch the market all day long, or you could just like play these larger moves and just walk away and check on the market every once in a while. So this was a nice move from 542 down to 526, and you're covering at this area right in here because it's like three moves to succeeding higher moves as this succeeds downwards. So this may have a little pop tomorrow, the next day, but as long as there's a target on the daily of the 377 exponential moving average of 519, that's where it's going to aim for. So you can zigzag this down, but the predominant force for Apple is on the downside. Doesn't matter if they come out with the best TVs in the world or all the ad space or another iPhone, doesn't matter. The technicals are all set for the downside. Okay, even though Goldman Sachs has been going sideways for 3 days, it's starting to slip. T1 is going below zero. T2 just started below zero at the end of the day, but the short-term tradable waves, T1, T2, are still moving below zero. Every day it gets a little bit lower and a little bit lower. At some point it's going to slingshot down to the upside. For some reason it held up. It's strong. It may be, since price is the one that we follow, we hope that the price follows the wave because they are the closing prices. So so let's see what happens there. But I still like Goldman to the downside on any pop-up as long as T1 and T2 go below, keep moving below zero and drag along 3, 4, and 5. So let's see what the ABC waves look like. And it's basically T1 is below zero, T2 is halfway, T3 is still above zero. So that's a kind of neutral to down for me. All right, let's look at Amazon. Amazon's been my favorite trading vehicle lately. Okay, now, so even though this is moving above zero, it's the short wave that moved above zero, and and the longer wave of T1 is still above. But T2, half three, T3, this is a very mixed bag here because it did take a monster move from 218, from the 233 exponential moving average all the way up to 255. And we had this trade in here from 253 down to the 377, and then I was waiting for it to come back up again, and it looks like, okay, so T5 is now below zero on this. It's the first time that this little light blue line has been below zero since 225. So let's do a Fibonacci retracement on that and see what we come up with here. Okay, so a Fib retracement on this is between 237 and 232 and 237. So, and that looks like that could happen. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so 230, 239, 240 in this area. So we're talking about in between the, if you just want to take a daily chart and put up some exponential fib lines, exponential moving average fib lines. This is the 8, the 21, the 55, the 89, the 144, and the 233. And if we go by the retracement that's on the 21-minute chart, then it's about 232, which puts it right about at the 144, at the 144 mark. 144 exponential moving average. Let's see what this looks like on a 610. Let's remove that. And those are all starting to move below zero on the 610. And you can see the 610, if I put a 21 up here on the left, doesn't trade a lot. 610 doesn't trade a lot, so you see the cursor moving across there? And that takes it all the way back to November 20th. So if you're using the 610 on the SPYs or the ES, it would take up about this whole chart would be like a half a day. But on Amazon, it's 3 weeks. So it gives you a good indication of where it's. You can use it as against the 25 or it's even longer than the 5. So you can trade with the 610 and using the 21 as an anchor. And as I say, the 21 has gone below zero on the long wave. So that's now your anchor to the downside. And if this slips below 240, 249 close on the day on the 377 exponential moving average, then that is a sell maybe beyond 240. All right. Okay, this next graph is TXN. The options are a little bit slow in this. I'm bringing this up because I got a note from my friend Brad, who wanted me to take a look at it and see if April calls were a good choice right here. And I'm looking at this for the first time. Usually, my rule of thumb is, if I spend too much time looking at a graph, I can talk myself into anything. But if I just look at it and spontaneously come up with where it should go, then I'm usually correct. Okay, so I think that that on the daily chart, this is starting. TXN is actually starting to move up on the downside. T1, T2, T3, T4, and for the first time, look at that. T5 is completely above zero. So I don't know what this monster move was about the other day from 29 to. See, on the S&Ps, this would be a 22-point move. On Texas Instrument, it's from 29.97 up to 31. So it's a 1-point move, but that's big because it's $30 stock. So actually, this is like the first time that this has been above zero for a really long time. Let me see. The last time that happened. Let's bring this out here because I want to take a better look at it here. Wow, this is like a total sideways stock. This hasn't had much action since the 2008 crash. Came back up to where it was, went sideways for August to, wait a minute, is that a year? Yeah, for an entire year. Then came back up, then came back to the same starting point, then went back up and came back to the same starting point. But it looks like it's actually, it actually wants to go to, on the daily, it actually wants to go to 34. So Brad, I would buy some 70 delta on the Aprils, and if it goes up to 34 and a half, you're done. It's only a 4-point move, but good enough. But I wouldn't buy them until it comes back down to 30. So you'd get an even better execution on the options. All right, that's all I have for tonight. Let me see what this looks like. Wait a minute, the TXN on the ABC waves. Yeah, still 29. Those look like they want to come down a little bit. And the bigger wave is above zero, but the smaller one's down here, and this is curving up. So by the time it gets down to 29.86, this will be on its way up again, and the longer anchor will be still above zero, and so will the number 5 wave, T5, on the daily. All right, that's all I have. Good luck trading, and have a great evening. And see you at the next update. One more thing I wanted to mention was, like Brad sent me a note today and asked me if I would do TXN. If any of you have any stocks you'd like me to look at, and if I have time to fit them in, I'd be happy to do it. Just send me a note at tritonwaveguy@gmail.com. And I am also on LinkedIn and Twitter. And again, if you are interested in the ABC waves, they are available. Just read the information below. They're available for TradeStation, eSignal, Sierra Charts, and NinjaTrader. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you Sunday night.